They have said that they wanted to join the SEC, and the SEC has officially extended an invitation for them to join. Now, it is not official yet if they've taken it yet or not, but basically what this happens to the Big 12 is they go down from 10 teams down to 8 teams, and you're looking at them basically treading water because you have to have at least 9 teams to play in a conference tournament or a conference championship game. So, Combs, with all that being said, when we look at the college landscape, and let's say Oklahoma and Texas do jump ship and they go back to the roots and they join back in the SEC, what do you think happens to the Big 12 moving forward?
Well, they disband. I mean, they're the Big 12. Look, we're headed towards 3 power conferences. That's what it's going to be.
3,
Not 4? It's going to be 3 super conferences. You're going to have the SEC, the Big 10, and the probably the ACC. And you're gonna have a bunch of teams in them. I would assume Notre Dame is going to end up in one of them, probably the Big 10, and those are going to be the 3 conferences that are battling out for playoff spots. And we're probably going to have 20 teams or so in each conference. It's what it's leading to. It's what's eventually going to happen. I know the current conferences are going to do everything that they can to try to stop it from happening, but it's inevitable. The Big 12 hasn't been relevant for I don't know how long.
Whoa. Texas and Oklahoma State have always run that conference, and they've always competing for that playoff spot. Come on now. Don't you?
When was the last time? When was the last time that the Big 12 actually had a chance to win a title?
Last year, Oklahoma.
Stop it.
Oh yeah.
Oklahoma was not good enough to beat Alabama or Clemson last year. Stop it.
You're right.
Or Ohio State.
They were good enough to beat both those teams combined. They just got gypped because nobody likes
out
the
of your
Big
mind.
12.
Get out of here. You're just mad because you went to K-State
Right.
and they let everybody play football because they let you in.
Yeah.
So I mean,
you're 100% right. I was white and I was 6'2". They're like, you fit our mold perfectly.
But no, the Big 12 just has not been.
Yeah.
It just hasn't. I mean, you look back, the 90s was the Big 12's heyday.
Right.
I mean, there really was. I mean, they had so
it the
many
Big 12
good teams.
or was it Nebraska? Right.
Well, it was Nebraska. Texas was really good. Oklahoma was really good, and I mean, they Big 12 was where it was at, and same thing with the ACC back then. The ACC was where it was at too. Boston College. You had Florida State was huge in the 90s. Those teams like that were always really good, but then somewhere along the line, the SEC and the ACC and the Big Ten just really took over.
Right. Yeah. So when we look at college football the way it is, I think the NCAA has to have the Big 12 because you have to have a conference in the Midwest. Because if you think about this, the SEC is the Southeast Conference, right? If you look at the ACC, it is the Atlantic Coast Conference. If you look at, the Pac-12, the Pacific, Atlantic Conference, I think it is. I don't know what the A means, but it is the Pacific Conference. So the Big 12 has to stay, I think, for conferences to even make sense moving forward. So if Texas and I shouldn't say if, I should say when Texas and Oklahoma leave the Big 12 and join the SEC. What you guys don't know is the Texas and Oklahoma used to be a part of the SEC way back in the 60s and 70s and 80s. I think even till like 90s they were in it. But I can't remember when the Big 8 joined or formed. But they were a part of the SEC way back when. So when they leave, the Big 12 is going to have to reach out to schools like Boise State. We're going to have to reach out to Cincinnati. We're going to have to reach out to
I think K-State's going to end up going to the Big Ten. I think that I don't think they're going to reach out to anybody because I think that those teams are going to move as well. You're going to lose all of your relevant teams, and what are you going to do? You're going to raid the Sun Belt Conference and bring them into your division. I mean, it's just
at this point, it's just a numbers game. Right, just to make your money.
Right, but at that point, if you wanna bring in 12 teams from like the wherever, if you want to bring in a Boise State or you want to bring in a New Mexico or whoever you want to bring in, that's all good and well. But you're not improving. You're not getting better. You're still an irrelevant conference.